the next project that I'm going to tackle is the seats. So I replaced the door panels, right, the door cards, with those really nice custom ones made by Omar Pina. But they're this gorgeous white, nice bright looking new, and the seats not so much. They're dingy. The leather is very cracked, right? You can see a lot of the cracks. You can see here, I mean, the leather has seen better days. So I'm actually going to try something before getting these reupholstered. I picked up a filler product. So it's the first treatment. It's a product that's supposed to fill all the cracking there, and then we're gonna spray and recolor the seats white. And just curious, see, as a quick fix, as a stopgap until I get them reupholstered at an upholstery shop. But I actually, in the fall, I already started refilling that seat, the passenger seat, in areas, and you could actually see, I mean, if you compare the two, you could kind of see the difference. And that was just with a quick refilling and not really, recoloring or putting a top coat or anything like that on the seats. So that's kind of the next project. I'm gonna, hopefully we'll see how they come out. But the plan is fill the cracks, color the seats, and hopefully that could buy me some time this season before I find an upholsterer that I kind of trust to reupholster them in the same boutique style leather, right? So I like that angular pleated look on the seats. I don't want to do just the regular, they sell seat covers. You could buy upholstery for these cars that's more like the base model trim. It's just plain flat leather. So that's the current plan. So here are the products we're going to be using to kind of refinish the seats. The first one is this filler. I'll put a link in the description to where I found it. As I mentioned, I used one container like this before to do some filling on the passenger side seat and a little bit on the rear seats. It's really easy to work with. You can use one of these little plastic spatulas that you can get any arts and crafts store. But essentially it's water soluble, and the recommendation is to put on a latex glove or something, wet your hand, and then use that to work it into the surface that you're and leveling it in the surface that you're trying to treat. So it's kind of a neat product. Hopefully I have enough of it. I already used one container. The seats are so bad, but you can use it to repair even tears and holes and things like that and fill them. So we'll see. And then for the color, I got a couple cans from Mohawk. So my brother is has been working in furniture repair for a very long time. And one of the things they do is leather repair. And he had some success with this product. So what I have here are 2 cans of white base coat. And then I have 2 cans of a top coat, this is flat. So basically it's a clear coat, but flat. I want to take the sheen. I think I want to take the sheen off of whatever this produces to kind of match those door cards, because door cards really don't have any sort of sheen or gloss to them. So we'll start with the white, see what it looks like, and then possibly also hit it with the flat there to take off any sheen that is produced. But that's really the products we're using. It should be fairly straightforward. I'm going to use rubbing alcohol to kind of clean the existing seats, and to kind of prep the surface. But also, some of the things I've seen is you could actually use a light sandpaper to scuff and shape and level. So that's really it. We'll go from here and see how it comes out. So I pulled the rear seat out. Start with the rear. This is the bottom. And the first step I'm really going to do is get in here and clean it. I'm going to use that Zepp purple degreaser, cut with some water, and then let that dry, and then come back in with some just isopropyl rubbing alcohol to get everything. And I got to do a really good job trying to get into these like pleats into here. But you can actually see, like I mentioned, that I did some filling on this late last year. So like here's a good example. Like that was like looked like a cigarette burn or something like that, and it's been filled, but just wasn't top coated. And even here, these creases were actually, so if you run your finger over them, they're actually smooth, but you can see them. So that's kind of what I'm looking to do is kind of fill these cracks, this stuff like that. You can see it right there. Fill these cracks with that vinyl fill product, and then hopefully when we go over it with a color coat, it'll look decent. And I'm not expecting this to be, perfect. I just want it to kind of extend the life of these particular seats while I try to find someone to reupholster them. So that's it. Clean them up, let them dry, and then we'll do the filling. Clean, nice and clean. It's definitely like grease or anything free. So again, here's the product I'm using. The repair compound, so it's sealed. And if you look, it's really just kind of like this thick white, I don't know, cream paste sort of thing, kind of like silicone. And I've seen online where people have, on other videos where people have just used like paintable silicone, like in a tube, to do this, but this is the product I came across that I'm going to use. So I take the spatula and you just take a little bit of the material, and if you look, these are the creases I'm going to try to fill. And it's just a matter of applying. And you can see it's kind of thick, kind of sticky. And the recommendation from the vendor is to wear plastic gloves, wet them, and then wipe. And this will smooth the application. It was a little heavy there with the water. But that's it. Now if you look, that crease looks fairly smooth. I'll wipe that up. But that's really the process. So here's a spot with a lot of cracking. So you come in with the material. Right here, all the way to the welting. Okay, and then wet fingers, kind of just smooth it all out. You can see knocking down the edges, kind of like feathering the edges. that's really it. When this dries, it'll dry kind of to a flat finish. And you could actually sand the material to like make it nice and smooth, because you will see like, you know, a little bit of like streaking. But like I said, it definitely looks 1,000 times better than what was there, which you can see here. I mean, you can see how cracked and dried all this is. And this is going to end up drying to a nice smooth finish. And it's still flexible and it won't re-crack, or at least not easily. So that's it. Now I'm going to kind of go over the whole seat with this material, and we'll check it out in a little bit. Okay, so the filler has had some time to dry. And you can see, like, so here's that corner that I did up close on the camera, and you can see, I mean, it's super nice, dry, smooth, and still flexible, supple. You know, even you can still see like the cracks, but if you actually, I don't know, let's see if I could get on this. It's actually, they're smooth. There's nothing to catch, you know, a nail on it. They're smooth. The issue is when you know, the filler actually, when the filler dries, it's not completely opaque. So it's, you know, the dark creases you can still see, but it's nice and smooth. I mean, you can see the finish on this. I mean, there's still some creases and lines, but I mean, it is leather. It shouldn't be a, you know, smooth, shiny piece, but I'm happy with the surface. I think this will look really good once it gets top coated. Yeah, I mean, that's what the filler looks like. And it's kind of hard to do a comparison if you don't have like a side-by-side. But again, here's, you know, this was the really deep crease, and you can tell it's full. And if you look at it from an angle, it is smooth. It is completely smoothed over. One thing I did do is, so here's the, you know, the driver's seat, which is by far the worst seat in the car. So I just started, this will probably take multiple applications to build up, but I started feeling the cracking. I probably got to take sandpaper to kind of level it. But one thing I wanted to show is these pleats on the seat. I mean, if you look at it, this looks like alligator skin. It's so bad. I mean, it's just horrendous. But I actually did a quick application on these two pleats, and you can see the difference. I mean, it is night and day, you know, comparing this surface to this. And this one was probably actually worse than this one. It was all like this, you know, almost like alligator texture up and down the whole thing. And it was just the same technique, taking the filler, using the little spatula to lay it out, and then wet glove to kind of just really smooth it out and make it nice. And again, it kind of, you know, it doesn't look great from a color point of view, and that's why we have to go over it with the top coat. And I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what it actually looks like when that comes together. But this seat still needs a lot of work, still needs a lot of filling on the bolster here. You can see the cracks. You know, this needs to be probably gone over a couple times and leveled with some sandpaper. We got to do, you know, this headrest. I did a little bit already. Even here, it's been filled once really lightly, so you see the lines, but you actually don't really feel them on this one. But that's it. And then we got to do the top of the back seat, and then we can do color. Okay, just because of my curiosity, I kind of want to actually hit this with some color to kind of illustrate what I was talking about, in the sense that, you know, the filler did a pretty good job filling these cracks, and the surface is, you know, pretty smooth to the touch. It just looks, you know, you still see visually the cracks because they were dark, and it actually looks a lot worse. So I want to hit it with color to actually show that the color will cover up the cracks and actually visually should make a big difference on what this cushion looks like. So again, this is the Mohawk leather repair base coat in white. And then I also have the flat top coat to go over this. So again, just lightly. We'll hit this. Really it, you can see, and I went light. I could build it up, but already you can see, right? I mean, there's still some of that dark veining, but we'll give this a chance to dry up, and then hit it again with another light coat. But I am happy with it. I mean, I am happy with what we're looking at. So I just applied a second coat of the color, and already it's going from like the ivory look like to more of a white. This is actually a sample from the door card when I cut the speaker out, and that's kind of what I'm trying to achieve from a color point of view. So I just sprayed this so it still has a, you know, it's wet so you can see the sheen on it, but you can see, you know, the cracks are gone. The finish on it, I'm very happy with that. So as this dries up, hopefully that sheen cuts off, and then I could always hit it with the flat top coat that I have. But just for comparison, I really did one side. So, you know, if this doesn't sum it all up, you know, this is filled right here. So this is actually still filled and still looking good compared to what it looked like when it came out of the car. But you can see, you know, this side is drying nicely and it's covered up. The white looks pretty good. I'm happy with it. You know, but there's a comparison. So I'll just give it a little bit, let it dry up, and then we'll take a look and see what it kind of looks like from there. But you can see big color difference, just even, you know, the texture. I think this is, you know, gonna do what I kind of wanted it to do. So yeah, we'll just give it a little bit to dry so the gloss comes off of it, and we'll see what it looks like in a minute. So here's painted up the left side, so that's why there's a lot of gloss on that, but it's drying up. I am very happy with the turnout. It seems nice, pretty even. The coverage is pretty good. Even in here, it kind of looks like it's there's a little bug crawling on it. Get out of there. Just as it dries up, I am happy with the outcome. You know, it still looks like leather. Still has, you know, like the grain and the texture, the correct texture. It didn't get like too smooth. In the camera here, it looks a lot glossier than it actually is. But I haven't even hit it with the top coat, that flat top coat yet. I might let this dry really good before going there with it. So the rears are installed, and to say I'm happy with the outcome is just an understatement. As you can see, so the fronts aren't done yet, and just from even right here on the both side of the front seat, you can see how dingy and yellow it is compared to the back seat. But yeah, came out good. I did use the clear coat or the flat coat, but honestly, you really didn't need it. It dried to a fairly flat finish, but you can see the seat compared to the you know, panel, the quarter panel there, the interior quarter panel. The color and texture and finish match fairly good. Like I said, I wasn't expecting to get this perfect, but this was more just to, you know, get me through for a little bit until I find someone who, you know, can reupholster these in the same style without, you know, costing a fortune. But I am very happy with the finish of those. So now, just to keep this video short, I'm going to do the fronts in a separate video. But that's it from here. Please like, please subscribe, and I'll keep producing content related to getting this Cabriolet back on the road. I have a couple of my other projects that I'm going to start featuring, like this guy, and stay tuned.